EON-XR, it is afternoon or even night. So I have the pleasure to invite some of our technical team to this webinar. It's a part of the EON-XR webinar series. And today we're going to talk about EON-XR, our product. And more specifically, we're going to touch base on how the technology actually works. So we're going to go a little bit behind the scenes, not stop at the surface. And with me, I have a number of colleagues that I'd like to introduce. Normally, I would introduce them myself, but today I select rather to that they introduce themselves. So please start by mentioning who you are, your name, your position, and a little bit about yourself. Okay, so let's get going. We'll start with John Green first. Hi, John.
Hi, Dan. My name is John Green. I'm a customer success manager at EON Reality. I come from a training and implementation onboarding background, so I work directly with our institutional academic customers in the implementation adoption of our platform.
Excellent. Welcome. So we're going to hear a little bit about how you interact with customers today. We also have another colleague of mine, a PhD from Irvine, David. Why don't you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, hi Dan. My name is David Huang. I'm the director of R&D. I've been working with EON for the past 8 years on many of the features that the platform offers. Yeah, thank you.
David is very modest. He is a PhD in virtual reality, and he's been one of the rocks when it comes to innovation and coming up with new features. Many of the patents that EON have submitted and get approved comes from David's work. Also with us from Singapore, we have Farid. And Farid, why don't you introduce it? I know it's very late, so I'm very grateful, and I apologize in advance to your family for having to be this late at night. But go ahead, please. Farid, you are muted. So let's see if we can get that sorted. Sorry for that. It was working just before. So if you connected your microphone, that may be the reason. And anyway, I'll let you fix that and we move on to our next participant here from Sweden. And it's not only a colleague of mine, it's a good friend of mine. We've known each other for how many years now? 22 years?
Yeah.
Lin Sang.
Something like that.
Probably something like that. Huh? Yeah. So why don't you introduce yourself? Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you, Dan. So I'm a CTO at EON Reality. As Dan said, I've been working with this at this company for some 20 years. So I've been involved with a lot of key products and software products that we have been producing. So yeah, so I'm kind of very much interested in graphics and all the research around this. So yeah.
Yes. So Lin Sang has been with us and developed the original EON and followed through this. And I'm very happy that you've now been promoted to Chief Technical Officer. Okay. So let's see if Farid is successful. When you try, now it's still not there. Did you change anything, by the way, between before and after? No. I recommend maybe if you can hear us that you go in and out, and then we'll figure it out. Meanwhile, we'll get started. Okay, so question to John Green. John, I understand that we are now launching this new product. I know you're not very technical. You're more on the customer success side. But as a non-tech person, what would you think, based on what you heard about 9.0 and what you've seen so far, is the most exciting things?
Well, tell us. Thanks, Dan. And definitely looking forward to this new launch. From the user experience perspective, once users immediately log into the platform, they're going to notice a big difference. A new revamped UI, improved navigation experiences, much faster loading speeds. Also the visual quality of the the assets that you'll be looking at, using it, the ability to put in AR mode. And we'll be talking about this, but the real-time shadows off those assets, the way you can really engage with that model, and really we're talking about is maintaining the engagement levels really high throughout the lessons. So our learners and content creators are much more engaged with their content. As we're looking here, look at these, the visual quality of that asset, really superb in this new version 9.0. Again, we're revamping our engine, moving that to a Unity-based engine, which is going to give us a lot of these visual quality, photorealistic environments that we're looking at.
Excellent, thank you. And I was trying to catch up with you and go through some of the highlights, and we'll return to many of those images shortly. But I agree. My view looking at this is improved ease of use. The fact now that it's faster, the whole engagement, not only visual quality, is different. And I've been catching myself starting playing with it, and then 1-2 hours later, almost forgot about time because I'm thrilled with the experience. So that's an interesting remark. I do know that we have also some. Let's see if we get. Let's give it a second try now. Let's see if we get Farid. Second attempt.
Farid? Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
Loud and clear.
Finally.
So why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm the director for development for the with the development team. So we do the web part and the simulation part development. So we gather requirements from the users, from our team, and we kind of plan out and actually execute the actual development for a bunch of simulations, back-end web, stuff like that. Yeah. I guess that's it. Short and sweet. Yeah.
So this is a question for you, perhaps, Farid.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Fundamentally, can you explain in simple words what exactly this platform does on a high level?
Okay. I mean, what we want to do is we want to kind of firstly, I think the product is aimed at the ed tech, or what we call the knowledge transfer, and so the idea is we would like to create a product that is easy to use for end users. So I mean, traditionally we know such products, AR, VR products, it is you definitely need programming language and time investment in time to kind of figure out how the tool will work, or certain functionality will work. So I think what we are looking for is to be able to, for any end users with basic IT skills, without any programming knowledge, with basic IT skills, to be able to kind of build such a 3D lesson or 360 lesson with just basic skills like PowerPoint skills, and they would be able to do that. And I think the other part is pretty important. Whatever they build can be accessed by their so-called trainees or students on multiple devices, be it Windows, Mac, iOS, Android, and other headsets. So at the same time, we would make it easy, so you can easily build interactive environments that you can then have. You would be able to do learning, training, and performing tasks for the users. So I think that generally is it. Something simple, something that users can easily use and share it across. Yeah.
So I guess what I catch with this is no code environment, easy to use, the ability to go across different platforms, the ability to also address this market of education.
That's right.
In my simple mind, when I look at, having worked in this industry for many years, I see there's like fundamentally three things you need to kind of solve, three problems. One is how you get your data in, how you address that issue, how you bring that data to life, how do you create your interaction and then how do you share and publish this? And if you can do that whole journey from a creation standpoint, easy and smooth, without requiring, then I think you do a good job. And I must admit that the new version now is taking a couple of notch higher. Now, a question to you, David. I know that an area that it's very interesting for us is EON is always pushing the limit with regards to, let's say, visual quality, but also with regards to research. So can you tell us a little bit about what's going on in your world? First of all, I know that you are always a couple of steps ahead of us in terms of what we release. So what are you excited about? And I also know one more thing before I ask the question, that to innovate in nowadays, you're not a one island, one man. You have to actually connect different dots, existing technology, whether it's artificial intelligence, IoT, and other things, and put them together. So first of all, the first question is, what are you passionate for now, and what are some of the new things that you're working on? Thank you.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's an excellent question. And so I guess we have three aspects, right? So for the content to get the data in, so we're looking at, for example, like a high resolution 360 images. So that's like, way beyond what we had before. So we're talking about maybe like 20K in, resolution in terms of pixels. So then you can get like really, immersed in that environment. You can zoom in and you'll see all the details. But it's still early, in the R&D phase right now. And then so with the new devices, like for example the iPhone 12 Pro, we have the LiDAR sensors, and many devices also have the LiDAR sensors right now. So we're also looking to how to get the like a 3D scanning from just out of your phone, like you can just so easily get the data like the 3D model in this case into our platform. So regarding the interactivity, that's where normally the user, the lesson creator, would add, for example, annotations, in the form of a voice or a video, or 3D recording. That's a great feature that I'm really proud that we can offer that, so that you can record every action that you take, in the form of all these interactive events and your voice over. But that's actually something we had for a while. So for something that new we're just start to look at to kind of involve maybe the artificial intelligence a little bit, right? So we're kind of building on the shoulders of other giants. For example, in this case, we're looking at the Google Lens API. So which is API that can get pretty precise annotation automatically with like a given image. So for example, then we're trying to explore the possibility that we'll set up a virtual camera, take like a screenshot of what you have, be it like a 3D model or 360 image, maybe a part of it, and then we feed that into the AI engine, and then we can hopefully get some automatically generated like annotations out of that. So then if this can be achieved, then creating annotation will be like takes like several seconds in a matter of And for publishing, so I guess it's not much of too exciting there, but we're looking at like publishing on the traditional phones and then all the VR and AR devices, because we're building on top of Unity, which is like a really popular engine that supports pretty much everything out there. So that would enable us to do all these things like easily, like publishing especially. So
very exciting. I know that one thing we focused a lot on in this release is the visual quality, and I must say it's stunning. So whatever Vincent and your team has done, I must say it's very nice. Can you talk a little bit more about that and what type of visual quality EON supports? And the nice thing, by the way, which I think our listeners should be aware of, we are doing it simultaneously across AR environments, VR environments, mobile VR, and headset. So we are kind of doing it across the platform, and I can see that visual quality going all the way. So tell us a little bit more about that, Vincent. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. So what we have trying to do in this release is that we kind of bump up the visual quality, the fidelity of what you see in the model. So what we have been using is one of the kind of de facto standard now in games in the industry that's called physical base rendering. So that means that no matter what kind of lighting you have in your environment, you can get the realistic rendering of the materials. So you can actually go out and sample the material that you have in the real world and take it in and then put it in your models, and you can get exactly what you have in the real world. So for example, if you want to take the copper or silver, and then you can just get it into your models. It will look exactly the same as in the real world. So one of the key benefits of the PBR is this. And one of the other key things that we did was that we have this big library of existing models with a older shading model. So what we have done is that we invented automated process to process all the old content. It's a challenge because the old model was not kind of made for this kind of realism. So we have to come up with a lot of ad hoc and clever algorithm to translate the properties from the materials from the old models and into this, so they can display in this new shading model. So that's what we have done. Another thing that we're adding to this new visual engine is the real-time shadows. So this is one of the key benefits of having it display in the real world, that where we have the augmented reality, is that you have to have shadows to anchor the objects to the plane. Otherwise, it will look a bit fake. So that's one of the key things we have to do, is that use these shadows and mix it with virtual objects. And another thing that we are taking advantage of is for the newer AR Toolkit and AR Core, they have this feature where it can sample the real world and get the environment color and the lighting. And what we do is that we take that image and then use it as a reflection map in our models. So that means if you have something that's very shiny, it will be able to reflect the environment. That's like you have placed it in the real world. So that's one of those things doing.
It's so nice to hear about what's behind the scenes, because all I see is the end result. And I do a little competition with all our new customers that experience 9.0. I put 4 objects, and one of them is not real. And I asked the question, can you please tell me which of those? So first it's a video, but I use it as a still. And then just to demonstrate the point, what I'll do is I'll do that with you right now. And I think you know which object it is. So let's see if I can pull that off. One moment. So let's go to visual quality. I think it's in the second one. Yes, there it is. So let me go to that object. Let's see if we can see it. So slicing plane. Okay, so that's the real-time shadows. PBR. No, it wasn't there. So I will cut this to the. Oh, here it is. It's in this document. Sorry. I have quite a few documents. It's about 250 videos that you have in these PowerPoints, which is quite a lot. So here it is. You see 4 objects. Actually, you see the little thing here. You see this one there. You see that one and that one. And I asked the question, which one? Most of them say that the yellow car is not real. But let's look at it. So it was the rover, right? And especially if you start putting things in context in the real environment, then things become very exciting. Let's see if I can, okay, go back to that. I think when you place something in the real world, it's quite exciting. But one thing I was surprised with, and you need to explain that to me, is that if you look at environments, or even if you place your marker in the water, as you can see there, what's the secret? How come it's so stable? Because normally, if you put things in an environment that is moving, like in a car, you couldn't do it. So can you share with us a little bit about what you've done there?
Yeah, I think the reason is that it's using the LiDAR sensor also as a tool to help it to stabilize the tracking. So it's normally when you have environment that's moving or very similar environment without details, it's having a really difficult task to track the feature points. But since you have
see the rim here, it's the first surfing engine I've ever seen. I've been working with the engine, so it's surfing in California. It's like a Beach Boy thing. I don't know what it is, but it's reacting, because I've seen that my wife is sometimes kicking the augmented reality object and they actually move forward. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty cool. Another thing you were talking about was, yes, LiDAR, and I was blown away by how well LiDAR works when you put it in front of, let's say, a statue. So if you look at, let me just stop this video here. So you can see here, I have a augmented reality, and then I put it in front of my sofa, and you can see that the sofa is covering. You can see that here. That's also a very, very nice effect. And yeah, now you've done a great job there, I must say. Talking about great job, going back to Farid, talk to me, because I tried the platform, and what I'm talking about now is not what's happening in the 3D world, but the whole experience, the whole web experience. And it's a dramatical change. I mean, it is faster, it's smoother. Tell us a little bit about the magic that you apply there. Now you're muted again. So there's something there with the connection.
Oh, yeah, I think you can hear me now, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
okay, great. So what we've done is we kind of overhauled the entire web platform. We are taking on newer technology. For example, what we are taking on is Microsoft.NET Core technology. I think, in short, the way technology is evolving right now is they're eliminating a lot of the things in between. So you get what we call down to the metal kind of access, right? So which is kind of really important for the user. That means things are a whole lot more faster, right? I think we've got our login page can logging into the platform on our portal is now, I think, 10 times faster than before. We've made the whole platform a whole lot more easier. I know we've got people who need to administer, for example, 10,000 students. They need to import 10,000 students in one go. So we've kind of improved that process a lot, so that you could do that, and it might take about an hour, but you don't have to worry about it. Just import it in. We will tell you when it's done. So we're making a lot of parts simpler and easier and more streamlined. And I think at the same time, we've done a bunch of stuff to also make it more secure. I think that's very important. We want to make sure that things that you have decided who could access is only accessible by those you have specified, and those who are not supposed to access will not even be able to see the image or whatever it is. So I think that's pretty important, to make sure your files belong to you and you control what happens to it. So those are the kind of stuff. Other than the fast stuff that we have, also is the security part is pretty important, and security is ever changing. There's always something else that comes about that is a vulnerability. So I think we are trying to be on top of that to make sure that those parts are covered. at the same time. And at the same time, I think we are also integrating a lot of things together. For example, like marketplace, especially when clients need to manage. So we are putting all in one place, which means instead of having it in a few places, it's all in one single dashboard. You can literally see everything that's happening, how much credits you have, how you can assign, and at the same time, one last thing I think that is pretty important is the tracking part. As users use the lessons, as they consume, I think the analytic part is pretty important, right? So we've done some things. Again, you don't see it. Is in the back end is the way we do our tracking. So tracking is is improved. We now know how much time you spend per activity, how much time you spend in the whole lesson, and this translates to a much more accurate and much more better report. And also it translates to our upcoming feature that we will have is what we call the analytics reporting functionality, where you would see an analytic report of all the lessons in your institution. So you get an idea of how people are using, how much are they learning, how much time they're spending. So you could tell, okay, this how much time is a person spending on this lesson, how effective it is. Those could be a scenario. So I think very exciting stuff up ahead, especially on the web, on the reporting part as we go forward. Yeah.
Excellent. And you said something, a couple of things that I would like to comment. Yeah, the speed, and when you use it, that's critical for how enjoyable the experience is. But also efficiency, right? Because you don't have unlimited time. You mentioned security. As you know, we work with, for example, U.S. Air Force, one of our customers, but we also work with customers in energy with security around utilities like nuclear power plants. And also in education, we handle very sensitive data. That people are very, especially in the medical sector, right? With an organization like Children's Hospital in Orange County. So security has been paramount for us, and I'm so happy to see that we pass all the security tests at the moment. And thirdly, you talk about assessment, and I would say one area where virtual and augmented reality can play a totally unique way is in the area of assessment. Like, when I started in this industry, I didn't start with VR. I started with aircrafts and the various parts of simulators. And we all know that how the role and assessment of pilots when they do an emergency landing in water, and that's what's possible now. And the data points that we can capture is 20 million. So it's not only, as you mentioned now, the duration, what they do, but what do they look at? Why did they push that button? Etc. And in that context, I know an invention and a patent, I think, that David worked on, it's launched, is the ability to have this 3D assessment where we can actually score a student, how well he or she does compared with what's supposed to happen with the teacher's recording. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that works, David?
Yeah, sure. So actually, it's a very closely connected to the 3D recording that I mentioned earlier. So every step that you take, for example, you make the model, enable exploded view, X-ray. You can take it apart. You can drill down on the hierarchy. So all these things, coupled with your voice, so you can create like this interactive lesson, right? So every event is being recorded, and then so you end up with like a list of the correct answers. For example, how to assemble like a car engine, for example. And then the student can have the ability to either with the voiceover as like some kind of help, or even without the voiceover. So just have to go through that the same process. Then we have end up like with a different list. So that's the step that the student took. And then we just compare the two. So there's an algorithm that does it pretty well. And then we actually grade on a pretty generous curve. So you get the best score possible out of the action that you took. But in general, then you'll be given like a nice charts. So you it will tell you like how many steps you did right. Maybe you missed something, maybe something that's actual, that's not what the teacher did. So you have a report, you have the score and everything. So
now I can see how this capability, and you just mentioned my favorite statement there: every move you make, every step you take, I'll be watching. It's not I, but it's actually the capacity to capture that data. And keep in mind that our goal is to help knowledge transfer. Ultimately, we try to help someone. And I think Confucius put it very well. I see, I forget. No, I hear, I forget. I see, I remember. And I do, I understand. So I think that capacity. Now, just for the benefit of the audience, maybe I should share again a slight little video that Ian actually depicts what you are talking about with respect to 3D recording and assessment. So there is a video here around that. There's many topics to cover, but I think like lens separation and the new annotations, etc. But the one, and also I'm very excited, by the way, I forgot to say about the new video and the way the video pops up in your environment. And we will do that in AR soon also, so you can actually see the video dinosaur come to life. But coming to the 3D recording, so that's, I think, what you were talking about. So you can see the final score, and you can use this in an environment like, for example, a mobile device. And just turn off the volume there. So let's see. Yes. Step-by-step 3D recording. So he's recording that first. And now students can for some reason I can't get the volume up, but it's okay. And then you can see the outcome and the results from this.
Yeah, so, are you sharing your screen?
Oh yeah.
I don't think we can see your screen here.
Oh, you cannot see my screen.
Yeah, we don't see your screen yet.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's do it again. Thank you. Okay. So what I was talking about, it has to do with the 3D assessment and the capability. Now you see it, right?
Yep, we see it.
Yep. Great, great. I will cut this portion so we get to the topic. And so here you can see the 3D recording assessment. And where you allow people to do it not only on the headset, but you can actually do it in your own environment. So you record in your own environment at home using just the phone, and then you get your scorecard automatically. Okay, so very exciting stuff. John Green, you and I are not experts, not technical experts, but we sure can take advantage of what comes out of this eventually. And sometimes, because we can't forget, due to technology, what our mission is. And our mission is to help students learn faster, retain information longer, make better decisions. Ultimately, that's the proof. And of course, all the things we talked about, like speed, visual quality, the ability to record things, are important steps into this. Now, if you were to look forward, look a little bit in the future, what would you like to see more? What kind of, when you interact with customers, where do you see that, what's the next level, the new features that you would wish to see?
Yeah, Dan, it's like you said it right, the knowledge transfer. And I work with clients, and teachers are asking me a lot of questions, and how I'm working on the implementation side and the adoption of this platform in the classroom. And it's very exciting. Just we'll make a point on these new features that we're launching. What it does, it maintains engagement levels really high. We are in a situation, we are in distance education, learners are connecting through their devices, and these tools are allowing the learners to be engaged in their lessons, which makes it easy for the educator to teach their content, and we allow them to do that with these tools. Also for teaching and learning as well, where students can create their lessons and teach it back to the classroom. And that's an exciting space to be in, where students are really learning the content in context. All of these exciting features, as we're talking about, what it really does in education, it brings the learner to the context that they're learning in. If I'm fixing a motor, I want to be in front of that motor. I'm going to fix it. I can bring a picture of the environment of the hospital that I'm going to eventually work in, move around that space. So all that brings the context learning base to education. Going forward, I think you just see more of this, more realistic environments that our educators can use to place the learner inside of an environment and create scenario-based learning, where students are placed in certain situations. They're looking to make decisions, react in certain scenarios, and that's a really exciting space to be in. And I can see the future coming, going fast towards that direction.
Thank you. And one thing that you guys have done very well with customer success is to implement this not for a few, but for many. Our average installation now is exceeding 5,000 to 5,700 users at once. And I must say that is unprecedented. And I know how many hours you and how hard your team has been working day and night to get this to the users, to get that democratization process started. And you happen to be very talented because you do it in English, and you do it in Spanish, and you do it in Brazilian Portuguese. I've sometimes had meetings with you at 2 a.m. in the morning. So it's really more like an evangelizing process. So it's been really fun. I would say to take a step back, because we were supposed to talk for half an hour, but there's so many things popping up here, so I could continue for another 2 hours. But if I give my personal view on the future, in many ways, to solve this puzzle, to talk about education and knowledge transfer, Google knows everything, so students don't have to memorize anything. The education is changing. I think the role of educator is to be mentors, to be more like a Karate Kid, like teaching them the moves, but letting students to explore and solve problems. And in that context, I see the technology can play an important role in two ways. One is to gather data from reality, IoT data, capture data in 3 dimensions, artificial intelligence to suck out information using technology like Google Lens, and extract that information, bring it in augmented virtual reality in order to enrich those environments. That's one context. And the other one is to do the opposite, to take data from the artificial world and to inject and implant that in our real world, actually give annotation to your lab, to your flowers. And I think in that in that kind of link in that gap, there is an enormous opportunity to innovate and advance. And on that note, on that high note, I want to thank you all for this wonderful afternoon, and we'll do more of these. It was our first, and look forward to work together. All the best. Take care now. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you.